There's lots of ways you can network. I'm networking now, I'm the speaker. It's my favorite way to network. I hate cocktail parties. I do cocktail parties whenever I have to. I don't like them. And I'll share with you, I test as an introvert, which completely freaks people out. And most of my talks and most of my clients are frankly accounting firms, law firms, engineers, all the different types of people who are introvert and non-sales professionals. They can't stand to go to a cocktail party, and I totally appreciate how they feel. But what I've learned to do is to kind of have different, and I'll have a handout at the end called How to Work a Room. When you have to, you need to do it. You want to be a professional representative of Cornell or your company or your family or your world or whatever it might be. But I've kind of identified other ways to network: writing, speaking. I don't do a lot of blogging. I'm doing more on Twitter now that I'm actually on blogging, but I respond to people's blogs. I do a lot with LinkedIn, Facebook. I do a lot with connecting people together, my newsletter list. So my hope is that as rarely as possible, I'll walk into a cocktail party and not know people. If I'm in that kind of a situation, frankly, I take a networking buddy with me. It's just more fun to have somebody along, one. And two, if you have somebody who knows you and likes you, it's like bringing your mom along. It's just terrific. You've got a fan with you already. There's a lot. The other way I'll share with you that's a terrific way to network is to ask a question of the speaker. And I'll just tell you two quick stories about this. One was seeing the CEO of Raytheon speak about a year and a half ago in Boston, and he was talking about the shortage of kids in math and sciences that Raytheon is going to be hiring and able to hire in 15 to 20 years. And there's no one that they feel like they can hire. It's just going to be really, really tough. So Raytheon was sending professional athletes into the math classes, teaching the kids the Pythagorean theorem and hoping to get them excited about math and science. And this was such a great thing, and he's naming off all these professional players. Well, they were all men. Now, nothing against men, but how many girls in the room are going to be excited when they hear all about the men? So I stood up and I was all set to ask my really good, important chick question. And I had been a good math student as a little girl until I kind of lost interest in it. During the introduction, he said he's a huge fan of making beer can chicken. You guys know what beer can chicken is? Anybody not know beer can chicken? So beer can chicken is when you have a beer can, you either dump the beer, drink the beer, whatever, you get rid of some of the beer. You impale a chicken on top of the beer can, you put it onto the grill, and the beer bubbles into the chicken, and it's really moist and yummy. And I had just happened to have one of these a few days before for my birthday. And I'm thinking, this is what the CEO of Raytheon does in his spare time. So I stood up and I was all set to ask my question. There's 350 executives in this wonderful, elegant ballroom in Boston. I said, got a question about girls in math, and by the way, I'm a huge fan of beer can chicken, and he cuts me off. And in front of 350 people, he says, forget the beer, do Sauvignon Blanc, a little bit of lemon, some dill, and he starts naming off spices. And of course, I am just the color of that red bag in about a second. And I'm horrified, and I finally got to my question. I walked out, I must have met 20 or 30 people. Half of them want to know what beer can chicken was, and the other half wanted to know why I was so passionate about helping girls in math and science. And in many cases, it's the daughters of the men who, the dads are beginning to realize the importance of this. So asking a question of the speaker is really terrific. I saw him at an event in June. I've never met him. And I thought, do I say hello? I felt chicken. I don't know why, but I felt just kind of awkward to walk up to him. And I finally said, okay, this is ridiculous. This is what you do. You teach people how to walk up, test yourself, walk up to this man and introduce yourself. So I walked up to him and I said, you know, we've actually never met, but a couple years ago I asked you a question at the Boston Harbor Hotel, and he says, you're the one. And he said the question had become legendary at Raytheon on whether or not it actually ever happened. And he was happy to meet me to remember that this actually had happened. What I forgot when I did this is that he had been involved in some plagiarism accusations in the meantime, so he was really happy to meet somebody who didn't think he had actually made up this whole story.